School not going to be able to get that one for himself. But Cloud9 going to answer that one with a Baron ban.
So Grace or Lyra here. What is NRG going to pick? Or are they going to surprise us and do something completely off meta, which they have done before? So let's see what NRG decides here. But I think for them, oh, they're going to go with the Grace. So that leaves Lyra open for the side of Cloud9.
Yeah, very likely to be Lyra picked up. You know, when the one healer does come through, you generally want to have one on your own side. So they do first pick that. Very easy first pick for them.
Yeah, so easy captain lock-ins to start things off. Not too dangerous. It's not too easy to just easily counter-pick into a captain as much as it is in some of the other roles, and you can kind of lock in some safe picks there. But now going into the bans, how do we anticipate these two teams building on these compositions?
I would expect, you know, an Idris to come out from one of these two sides. It's such a strong pick. It goes really well with a Grace, which is why, you know, there was I kind of thought Cloud9 might have actually banned it away there, but
yeah, they banned Batiste, and I think NRG is going to ban Koshka potentially here. They did ban Koshka the last game, and it makes sense because I think if they don't ban Koshka, I think Cloud9 is going to probably pick it up because Lyra and Koshka will be very strong together. So now Idris is open. So are they going to pick Idris here? I think Cloud9 will probably pick up the Idris, or yep, they're going to pick up the Idris, and then now NRG has Glaive. They tend to Glaive lane, so they can pick up the Glaive lane and play with like Samuel, for example, which is a comp that they actually have ran before. So that may be the comfort comp that NRG picks here.
It would make sense, make a lot of sense for them, and like we just said, it's also their comfort picks. And when you're going up against a team like Cloud9, if you can get your comfort picks in a composition that makes sense, then that is generally the way that you should try and go. Give yourself your best chance at victory. So
yeah, they also have done Grace, Blackfeather, and Kestrel. So is that a composition that may come out again too? So let's see what NRG decides. But I think, yeah, so Blackfeather comes out, and maybe now they can end with the Kestrel here and play a weapon Blackfeather, which is kind of even with Idris. Is really going to be based on skill level and who outplays and who outfarms the other person. Because I feel like Blackfeather and Idris are pretty similar in terms of, you know, their style of play. They're very mobile and they do a lot of damage. Oh, he's going with the Samuel here, which is a pretty decent pick right here.
Yeah, so very solid composition coming out from NRG here. You've got that Blackfeather going up to lane, or very likely at least, and Samuel heading CP into the jungle. Now Cloud9, they've got to finish off their composition. What do you expect to go into the jungle for them?
I expect something that is going to be able to, you know, kind of assist Idris with some dives, and it is going to be the Sky pickup. So trying to poke and harass with the Idris in the Sky, and then when it's time to go all in, both of them can go diving straight onto the back line. Very likely going to be trying to focus down that Samuel as you get later on, because that's one of the big strengths of an Idris is when you go the weapon power path, you can really get onto a hero like a Samuel and just, you know, as soon as the Drifting Dark comes out, you dash in behind him, and all of a sudden his Malice and Verdicts are nowhere near as effective, and it puts him in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I love Cloud9's draft. Sky counters all three of those heroes. I mean, except for Samuel, because it's more of a skill matchup at that point. But Grace, he's not that good into Sky, and Blackfeather not that good as well because of her 4 barrage and ability to kite and reposition herself almost instantly. So I do like Cloud9's draft here, especially with Lyra and Idris for the front line.
All right, so big fans of the Cloud9 draft. And what is it that NRG are going to have to do in this game to get this to a third game, to stay in this series and get those all-important points on the board?
It's going to be a lot about focusing down that, you know, picking one of those targets and focusing them down. Whether it's Sky or Idris, they're both going to be very slippery and elusive and difficult to focus down, but you have to stick to that target. If they get way and get out of the fight, you know, then maybe you can switch over, but you know, you have to make sure that just because they reposition once in the fight, you don't just give up and try and switch targets, otherwise you're going to be chasing targets all around the fight.
Okay, thoughts, Suijay?
Samuel's got to win the early game, snowball, and then he needs to outscale Sky first before Sky gets to late game.
So all about building up that snowball.
Yeah, it's all jungle. It's all about jungle here.
Okay, we'll see how this jungle matchup is going to pan out. Let us know who you're going for on this one. Hashtag Vainglory8. Do you believe in the NRG comeback, or are Cloud9 going to be cruising on through the skies on this one? It's time to head onto the Halcyon Fold for the second game in the series.
This is a pretty important match here for the side of NRG Scoundrel. Currently sitting on 5 points in the standings. They are at risk of dropping into the Challenge Battles zone if they can't at least secure themselves a single point.
Yeah, but they've got some elements of the composition that can do well here, Dalsey. The weapon power Blackfeather into weapon power Idris sort of matchup, it favors the weapon power Blackfeather. You have a great trading tools, the on point, the fortified health that it provides you, the shielding. So, you know, Old School might have a tough time in the laning phase here, and already Juan Hernandez putting on a bit of pressure.
Yeah, he is, as is Bradley in the jungle. He's forced I Love Joseph and Gabe Vizzle to share experience in the backs, which means that Lightning T is going to have a bit more pressure in the jungle if they can find an engagement now. Joseph and Gabe Vizzle are starting up their fronts, which means that they will hit level 2, or at least I Love Joseph should hit level 2, I think, at this point. And so that pressure is now depleted, considering that Bradley has moved into lane to try and help out Juan.
I agree with Suijay's analysis, by the way. I definitely think that Samuel needs to put pressure on early here, because the later this goes, the more and more I favour Samuel. Oh, wow, Lightning T!
This is
yeah, he knows.
him. No, yeah, that was not a normal move. That was, unfortunately, by the looks of it, something a little bit amiss. And now Bradley's in trouble. Juan going to throw out that on point. Lightning T didn't have the strongest of performances in the previous game. Now, whether that be just due to the dynamics of Cruel into Petal, or if there's something else going on behind the scenes that we don't know of in Scoundrel, either way, NRG can't really be affording to have these kind of mishaps when they are this close to the challenge battles.
Yeah, just as we were about to say, we know we really would like to see Samuel win the early game. It is important that they get an early siege, they put pressure onto Old School Juan Hernandez. A crucial part of this composition is winning the lane versus the CP Idris as well. Like I said, bad lane matchups are completely alleviated by Booker Eulogies in some ways, and Lyra only makes that easier for Old School. I don't expect once the laning phase gets into full swing with Old School and Gabe Vizzle kind of there the entire time that we'll actually see much pressure onto Old School, but you know, it is an area that I think as a 3, NRG should be looking to pressure, but already C9 taking advantage in the lane. It's just not good for NRG at this stage of the game.
Lyra into Grace is definitely favourable towards the Lyra in the early levels. It's only towards the end game when Grace's heal becomes so obnoxious that you can't deal with it, that it becomes a bit of an issue. Look at this slow, look at the speed. I Love Joseph cuts off Lightning T as he tries to weave his way around Gabe Vizzle, but he's just run straight into Old School. That would be the easiest kill of his life there. Old School going to be finding himself up in this lane matchup against Juan Hernandez into the weapon power Blackfeather. Definitely a counter matchup there. If the Blackfeather's on equal footing with the Idris as far as skill is concerned, then usually it's the Blackfeather who wins it. But with a Lyra to kind of alleviate those issues Scoundrel with an early lead towards Old School, it's not going to be too much of a problem for Cloud9.
No, Juan really putting on pressure. Actually, wow, a lot of massive Malice and Burdens going down onto Old School.
Whoa! That was insane. The benediction comes through and Bradley takes the kill. Old
I don't know whether that was just, I mean, that was like 3 Malice Verdicts in a row through Drifting Dart landing onto Old School. Did he just not have another way that he could move?
No, well, he didn't have boots. Maybe perhaps he just decided not to attempt to dodge the second Malice and Verdict that was going to throw out. It did seem a little bit odd, perhaps just disrespecting the burst damage of the benediction.
Yeah, again, maybe they thought they were going to get out with the Lyra heal, sort of saying from Gabe Vizzle, we've got it up in a couple of seconds, don't worry. But yeah, the benediction coming through did get the kill onto Old School here, but it did go over to Bradley, remember. Not a huge target that you'd want some of your kill gold to go onto, although a Grace, the more gold she can get, the more items she can get, the tankier she can become, alleviate some of the poor base stats that she has. Old School Gabe Vizzle just going to walk through, try and take anything away, but already has been cleared by Lightning T here.
Old School is sitting about 600 gold away from his Sorrow Blade here. We'll be looking to build that so he has his Divergent Paths unlocked. He hasn't really left himself any inventory space to shortcut it with a double 6 Sins. Taking a lot of damage though from this Blackfeather. Here comes Lightning T as well, looking for an engage. Joseph has moved into lane. There's a fountain for Gabe Vizzle. Bradley has just purchased his own as he comes into the lane. Definitely remember, won't catch anyone. Juan going to pop a potion. He has that Book of Eulogies, of course, and a Poison Shiv now, so he can look to actually just heal straight up with his auto attacks with the last hits as well. And he's up to full, just like that. Cloud9, though, need to continue putting the pressure on, I think, if they don't want to kind of fall trap to this stronger early to mid game composition that NRG have.
And see, Samuel always makes sieges really easy for the team that has the Samuel, as it looks like a flank coming out from Joseph. Lightning T has spied this out.
Yeah, Scout Trap does spot it. Fight breaks out in the lane as everyone just fights all across the map to keep all parties occupied. You know, if you can't save your Skyx Scoundrel, probably the best thing you can do is probably engage your opponents who are directly in front of you to at least make sure that this catch that Samuel has made is between Samuel and Sky.
And again, that was pressure coming out in the lane from NRG to deny Old School the ability to shop and get his divergent paths as quickly as he potentially would have wanted to. You saw he was looking to make a move down towards the jungle shop, but he got dragged back into the lane because as a 3, NRG had grouped up and tried to push the turret. But now he's got it. He's got that divergent paths unlocked. He's probably working towards what's... well, I don't know. He's got a weapon blade in hand and also a book of eulogies. Now, there's a couple of options that you can go from here. I imagine some Idrises would consider a tension bow now. Some would consider a poison shiv second. Where would you be looking if you've got that weapon blade picked up for Old School and the book of eulogies?
Yeah, it's Odic Scoundrel.
I would have thought poison shiv because of Samuel and Grace.
You think poison shiv, but perhaps you go the tension bow because you want to just try and blow up the Samuel early. You know, this is kind of where Samuel's damage falls off for a little bit. As he builds towards his broken myth, you can kind of exploit that with the Sky, locking him down, the Idris hitting his level 6. So if you go towards the tension bow, Cloud9 are basically saying we want to kill you. So he's going to find one. That's one kill. NRG not able to keep him alive. And that's without a poison shiv to negate the healing that the Black Feather has and the Grace has. And you know what, Xscoundrel, before I throw it back to you, I just want to praise Cloud9 for a second. The way they share experience is fantastic. Bradley is nowhere near level 6, but you see Gabe Vizzle just making random trips into the jungle. Joseph holds the back camps in place so that Gabe Vizzle can soak up that experience. It's allowed for a massive lead on these two captain positions.
It's one of the major understated aspects of Vainglory, the ability to effectively share experience, because levels are incredibly important power spikes. We talk about item power spikes all the time, but levels are probably one of the more underrated areas that we don't often get to talk about. I mean, when you have a Celeste, obviously it speaks for itself. CP Blackfeather, you know, often it speaks for itself, but just levels in general in terms of base stats and increases in abilities. Every ability that you upgrade gives you a flat increase in base damage or a flat increase in base healing, all of which is equivalent to the likes of, you know, a decent amount of items, Dalsy. So, you know, to get level 6 early and to get, you know, everybody in your team at a good experience level, it's something that is very understated about the way, you know, you should be sharing experience as a professional team, and C9 do it incredibly well.
Yeah, certainly are. It's pretty incredible to see here. It is going to be that poison shiv, which is far more standard as your second item on Idris. He's made room in his inventory to allow for that. Gabe Vizzle with a flank. Here comes Joseph as well. Everyone's caught off here in NRG. The Oblivion won't catch anyone. The Crucible, well timed. Is going to be Old School knocked up, but great death from above cuts Bradley's route short. He takes a bit of poke in the process. This is a turret siege that I just don't think NRG can afford to defend. They need to leave this turret for dead, and they are going to actually respectfully do so. As that turret does go down, it's a huge gold lead over to Cloud9. 3,000 gold miner full as well, though I feel like taking it may be a little bit too risky.
And you can see that the likes of NRG realize that they are too far behind to invest super heavily into defense. Lightning T is, you know, sort of going towards very quickly that broken myth. It is a big power spike that he should look to utilize. The one thing that realistically NRG have over C9 in the mid game is they have the range of the Samuel with the drifting dart, who can build broken myth stacks very easily and effectively, and then that they can look to use that to gain some sort of advantage in team fights. That's the one thing that I think C9 you know, potentially need to be wary of. So expect C9 to keep close eyes on infusion timings, on power spikes for this Samuel, because Lightning T, if he hits that broken myth and he uses it at range, and it you know, makes it very difficult for C9 to sort of exist past that damage that he puts out, then that's one area that NRG could find their way back into this game. Although the chances of getting back into this game are getting slimmer and slimmer right now.
Yes, gold miner is in full vision of NRG being taken, but they can't do anything to stop it. Old School dives in onto Lightning T. Lightning T with a full heal from Grace. Old School takes a lot of damage, blocks the Holy Nova. Here comes Juan from the side, and Old School's kind of messed up his Shroud Step, but there won't be a re-engage from NRG. They're going to take that Treant away, And Old School's going towards a breaking point as his final item here at Scoundrel. Typically, you see this against Black Feather so that you can kind of go head to toe with him, build up that sustained damage. You know, definitely a good item. Tension Bow will allow the team to blow up the Samuel quicker, but with the Sky and with the high mobility she provides and kind of the ability to force Samuel to not go a more efficient route to escape the Idris, then perhaps Cloud9 can just engineer via team synergy a route for Old School to easily take down Lightning T.
I actually think it's even more simple than that, Dowsey. I just think Breaking Point's better against Black Feather.
Oh, yeah, against Black Feather it is. I'm talking about Samuel.
Yeah, I know, but the reason that Old School might be considering it here is that he's likely to get locked into duels with the Black Feather. So it's likely that he just wants to go Breaking Point because it's better against Black Feather. And if you build up Breaking Point stacks against a Black Feather, then it's going to be equivalent to having the kind of burst damage that a Tension Bow provides anyway, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. As I was saying, Scoundrel, that's exactly the reasoning there. Cloud9. I did, yeah. That was the opening gambit of the sentence there.
Wow. I just zoned out for like a good 15 seconds then.
That's alright, Scoundrel. Let me lure you into a comfortable, relaxed state with this delicate Australian-British hybrid of an accent. Where are NRG at the moment? They are not present on the map. They are, I guess, on the Halcyon Fold, but they're not really present, is the question. Broken Myth now for Lightning T. Surely this is the point where NRG look for fights. You see Bradley going in for an engage, but Juan doesn't seem very confident to be jumping on top of it. NRG need to pull the trigger, but they're just taking so much poke damage from both the Chakram and the Forge Raj as well. Cloud9 with the Lyra can sustain any poke thrown back at them.
They are about to lose their infusions. Juan has got one. He does use his C into. I'm not sure that's what you wanted to do, buddy.
No, Lightning T's in trouble. That's a fountain not used to save his life. And Juan dances back. Is safe for now. Bradley looking for a re-engage. They've been tanking this turret for what seems like a decade at this point. Dancing between the two. Joseph now getting in position to try and do the damage to this turret, but they lost their minion wave, and Joseph's tanking it all up. That's going to be heal for now, keeping himself alive. Cloud9 get the minion wave they need. Can Juan jump in, do the work with Bradley by his side? Bright Bulwark will stop it. That's going to... Cloud9 taking a turret. Bradley goes in, Shroud steps away. Joseph holding over comes out, but it's blocked up. And Juan can't get on top of Joseph here. Cloud9 should just be walking away, pretty much getting everything they want, building their gold lead up to 6,000 and NRG getting nothing. Unless Lightning T with an empowered Malice and Verdict finds a kill here. And he will. It's going to be Bradley taking the kill. Old School jumps in. That's going to be Old School going down. Very odd play there from Cloud9. Once more seemingly disrespecting NRG.
Again, it's now the Broken Myth completed for the Samuel. This is one area of the game that they can look to exploit. They have got an item spike on Juan Hernandez. He's getting pretty beefy on this weapon power Black Feather. He should be able to finish off, get the ace buff here, and suddenly things looking like they could turn in the favor of NRG. They've still got quite a way to go now, Dowsey, but I think NRG played very well around their infusion timings there as well. The infusions from Cloud9 had just dropped off. I believe Old School picked one up when he went to the jungle shop, but Lightning T had picked one up just after he died, and Juan Hernandez actually had one when they were defending their tier 2 turrets. They played around their infusion timings very well, and the Broken Myth item spike for the Samuel. And now Juan Hernandez has got Metal Jacket, Breaking Point, Poison Shiv, and Tension Bow. He's pretty strong in a duel, especially going up toe-to-toe with this Idris, so... You know, I think NRG have a good area that they can look to exploit in terms of the game pressure now.
They have to use it though. And this is the thing that I'm concerned most about at Scoundrel, is that it doesn't feel like NRG have been using the power that their composition has into Cloud9's. They may look for a fight now, but look at Lightning T, just gets destroyed instantly. The heal keeps him alive. He is managing to get to the back line. That's going to be a good crucible. Grace almost down. Benediction shield, not going to be enough. Juan can't escape this Sky. No, he can by killing her. But now he has to escape the entirety of Cloud9. Gabe Bizzle very low, but that's an easy kill for Old School. Lightning T re-engages with the Drifting Dark. Malice and Verdicts as well. It's going to be Old School trapped up. Can't make it to the portal. Gabe Bizzle says, come to me, I've got you. And he got him, he did not. That will be a kill going over to Lightning T. Follows through the portal. Gabe Bizzle should go down. Could be an ace as well.
Double kill.
6 seconds, easily enough for Lightning T. And it felt like if Lightning T just had got into the fight earlier, Scoundrel, that could have been a much different story for NRG.
Yeah, he got pushed out to the side, but I think actually NRG played it very well. The sign of a good Grace is channeling the ultimate before the target actually takes the necessary damage, and it finishes channeling by the time they take the damage. You get maximum efficiency out of it that way. And actually, Cloud9 absolutely tunneled in on Bradley, and Bradley did a really good job of surviving, A, using the Holy Shield from his ultimate channel, but also B, using the Benediction to buy enough time for both Lightning T and Juan Hernandez to get into position. But let's be honest, most of that was through some individual hero plays from NRG, the 1v1 from Juan Hernandez against I Love Joseph, and then Lightning T being able to 2v1 versus Old School and Gabe Bizzle, as well as MVP Crystal Miner, which, again, I think Cloud9 thinking they are further ahead than they think they are, and that has been punished now as NRG have secured the Kraken.
That was a bold Kraken call X there, Scoundrel.
It was, yeah.
Everyone from NRG was dead about Lightning T. Samuel, the worst Kraken taker, but he starts it up, gets the damage done so that his team can get there. And now Cloud9 just didn't expect that a Kraken would be started up, considering it's a Samuel. How does Samuel do Kraken by himself? We've seen it attempted in BG8 and failed before. This is so much gold over to NRG, but look at this. Cloud9 want the fight. Juan down to half HP, gets the heal from the Grace. The Founder comes out as well. Lightning T trying to escape, but it's going to be Juan just dancing around, taking Old School down. No, he survives, and Bradley may lose his life. Lightning T, Malice and Verdict, they need to get Old School, but Old School finds the kill. Lightning T does return on to Old School, but now he is between Gabe Bizzle and Joseph. The Kraken still doing work. She's about to get herself a second turret, which will be all she wrote, as the turret will pretty much take her down to only a couple of HP. NRG have bridged the gap here, and they are taking Cloud9 to a full game.
Well, you're seeing the prowess of the weapon power Blackfeather versus the weapon power Idris, even in the late game, able to consistently duel him, keeps himself healthy with the poison shiv, and also has the ability to execute far better than you would say than the Idris does, especially in the later stages of the game when you're going on extended fights. Juan Hernandez now just being the threat that he needs to be, and Lightning T is kind of being ignored, you feel. And I think the way that NRG are playing these fights are really interesting. What they are doing is they are splitting their team composition up. So they are sending Lightning T one way, they're sending Juan Hernandez the other way, and then suddenly C9 have to make the decision between, do we burst the weapon power Blackfeather, who, you know, with his Rose offensive, with his on point, his sustain can be quite hard to burst. Do we chase Lightning T, who is going to try and kite us forever with this Frostburn, Eve of Harvest, and Broken Myth build? And they're getting split, so C9 are splitting their focus, and then suddenly, you know, Juan Hernandez is picking off a member, and then Lightning T is then executing a member from afar, and C9 get kind of caught between two pincers of this NRG composition, and they haven't quite figured out which one is more threatening, and that's kind of causing them to just essentially lose focus and essentially lose the team fights too.
And this is where it comes back to my point about Breaking Point versus Tension Bow, is that Cloud9 have consistently at least done one thing at the start of every team fight, Scoundrel, and that is tried to kill Lightning T. Except with the burst heal that comes out of Bradley's Grace, now with an Echo for extra heals, you can't burst the Samuel, especially with a Breaking Point. You just won't stack it up. There's no way to stack it up unless Grace dive takes your face, dives straight onto you and allows you to stack it up on her, and then you engage onto the Samuel. So this is where Tension Bow would have been more effective in killing Samuel, bursting him down. Of course, not as effective into the Blackfeather, but if the Samuel is dead, then surely as a unit Cloud9 can deal with the Blackfeather. I wonder if Cloud9 will adapt to this, or if they will find themselves losing teamfights consistently due to this Grace double hill.
I'm going to start up the Kraken here. A lot of people will be asking why not just Shatterglass, because I think it actually provides more flat healing than an Echo would on a double Grace heal. But there's so much more to the Grace heal kit than there is just having the flat heal. It also provides another 1.8 seconds where Grace has a massive damage reduction, so she becomes a stagnant target in a team fight, just tanking and soaking damage, especially from I Love Joseph, for instance. And also means she can split her heal onto multiple targets, which can also be very effective as well. So I'm going to pull the Kraken towards them, baiting NRG to make the first move here, which has never been the way that these teamfights have actually played out yet, Doughty. It's always been C9 looking to make the first move. Is this going to be the change that you think C9 need as they've actually just back off from the Kraken entirely?
Yeah, the problem with NRG is that they can't hard engage onto that if there was to be a full-on engage, then Cloud9 would be able to just turn focus straight onto Samuel. This fight may be hard for me to commentate, Scoundrel, as it seems my network has dropped a little bit.
No, it was just me as well. I can do it. Actually, Old School jumping in here. He goes straight onto the Samuel. The massive heal comes out from the Grace Lightning. T eventually goes down, and C9 have the Crystal Sentry to contend with as well. Blackfeather now caught between a rock and a hard place. The Echo ultimate does come out. Juan Hernandez has got so many breaking point stacks, and he's starting to go to town, but C9 are splitting the focus so well. He gets one kill, but not enough, as C9 are able to clean shop and take the Crystal Sentry at the same time. They now have the opportunity to push into the base here, Dalsy. They might try and push for the win, but I don't think they have the time or the pressure on the turrets.
No, it's much safer to ensure that this turret goes down to the empowered minion wave and get themselves a Kraken. What a great fight from Cloud9 there. And this was purely due to the fact that Cloud9 as a unit were able to dive straight onto Lightning T. They were able, with the Idris, with this guy, with the high mobility that they have, to just pincer him into either face-tanking Idris or face-tanking Sky. He doesn't want to be doing both, and that's exactly what happened. You move the Samuel from the picture, then taking down the Blackfeather is much easier, and they've managed to do that with a breaking point as well. Cloud9 with the Kraken, with everyone coming back up, they're going to be looking for the end game here at Scoundrel, pushing towards the base.
Nice roll swap, by the way, Dalsy. I think that worked well. I actually think that, another thing that played into C9's advantage was that this fight took place in the jungle. Everything was a bit more clumped up. There was less room for Lightning T and Juan Hernandez to maneuver. I actually think that NRG do better fighting in the lane, in the open spaces that allows Samuel to kite more effectively without the restrictions of those jungle walls getting in the way. Even though they tried to fight around the Crystal Sentry, Lightning T was much easier for Old School to get on top of because he didn't have the space to maneuver. And I think that's something that's really important to this NRG composition.
It's the Drifting Dark as well. How can you position the Drifting Dark to bend around corners? You can't. That's why the lane is so good, because Lightning T has a straight route that he can walk down with the Drifting Dark, make sure he's empowered, make sure he's getting as much healing as possible. Kraken looking for its first Vein Crystal turret here at Scoundrel. It's going to go down, and Cloud9 are just poking. Bradley looks for an engage. They're trying to take down this Kraken as quickly as possible, but NRG know that this is the end game, that this is it. They need to fight if they want to stay in this game. It's going to be Old School diving onto Juan. Lightning T left to his own devices. This is not the right order. Cloud9 realize it and disengage. They can't be trying to go onto Juan. He has so much self-healing, and he has a Grace as well. It is Lightning T or bust, Cloud9.
Yeah, but also NRG did exactly how they've done in every fight that they've won so far. Lightning T went one way, Juan Hernandez went the other. Grace was stuck in the middle, and all she had to do was channel double ultimate onto Juan Hernandez. And remember, when you have a double ultimate, it not only provides you with the healing, but it gives Juan Hernandez a 40% damage reduction from all directions as well, Dalsy. All directions. So, especially as a Blackfeather, that makes you even tankier. Your fortified health becomes better because it's harder to burst through. Your sustain becomes better because you make more health up as well. It's a perfect pick with the weapon power Blackfeather because it makes him such a nuisance in these fights. And I've got to say, C9 were lucky that they didn't come away off the back end of that fight losing members.
Currently, it is a 6,000 gold lead at this 23-minute mark, but we've hit this point in the game at Scoundrel that I like to call the 45k point, where gold doesn't matter. Seemingly doesn't matter. NRG very happy to take fights against Cloud9 despite being at such a deep gold deficit. Cloud9 are realizing that NRG are on equal footing, if not a superior footing, if they get to play the win conditions of their team composition. NRG currently in the lane. This is where they want to fight. Old School taking a lot of poke at the beginning. There won't be any hard engages from NRG. Remember, if they do go for the hard engage, they risk putting Lightning T in a vulnerable position, and so they need to whittle away the health bars before they can attempt to do anything like that.
Yeah, I'm going to start to put pressure on the lane here. And again, this is where NRG want to fight. So the further they can push this lane in, the better it is for them. The problem is when Kraken is on the map, it means you kind of have to draw your attention down towards the jungle. And you think that given the way that the fights have gone, that's what Cloud9 would prefer. Infusions come out at this point in the game. You have to spend 500 gold every sort of couple of minutes to make sure you're maintaining your infusions. It is absolute requirement at this stage in the game that you have an infusion at all times. It's why it's very difficult to finish late game builds if you haven't finished it already, because you need to spend so much keeping up on the infusion map. But NRG currently have the controlling position, but I love what Cloud9 are doing here. They could easily rush the base if they had the option to. They're going to draw NRG up towards them.
Yep, there's the Bright Bulwark. Gabe Bizzle shutting down any engage onto Old School, the more vulnerable member, I think. Despite the fact that Sky is very squishy, Old School can be kited as an Idris. Bradley, though, taking so much poke. This is exactly what Cloud9 want, especially considering they've got map position.
They're just going to rush the base.
This forces
They're
energy
literally
right
just gonna
down.
Rush the base here.
Either energy hard engage, they pull back. If it's Cloud9 at Kraken priority, now Cloud9 have the middle of the base. In fact, they've split their ports. This is terrible. Cloud9 though may not know it. Now they do. Juan's in the lane. This is where they look to fight. There's no Crystal Sentry to deal with, but instead they're just going to start this Kraken. I love this move by Cloud9. If they maintain it is a different question. It seems like Old School doesn't want to. Now they've baited energy into a position where they want to fight.
Flare does come down. Whoa, Juan Hernandez. That might have been an interesting move.
That may have been the one way you throw this game. Juan taking a lot of damage. A pause comes out, Scoundrel.
Oh no.
A little bit odd, but it is stopped, and Lightning T does lose his life on the flip end of it. That's going to be NRG trying their best to stay on, but it's a double for Old School. It's looking like a triple. It will be taken away by Joseph, but that is GG. Juan, with that one Rose offensive, the one way that NRG would lose the game was a hard engage. And they did go for that. Not the one way, but the one way they 100% threw a game.
But chat called me too savage last time I talked about this, so I'm probably going to be a bit nicer this time. That was about 6 out of 10 terrible move. No, that was just not a good move. That was definitely a throwing play there, and you can see it from the result. C9 just sweep the game, and NRG had a real chance to take that, Darcy.